Hi everybody, and welcome back to another Random Sam Epic Mom. And it's time for another book review. We've got a treat for you this week. I'm actually doing 2 books. It's a set. It is Linda Howard again, and her books are To Die For, which came first, and then Drop Dead Gorgeous. Both of these books are wonderful. The main character, Blair Mallory, is a complete smart aleck. As I've stated in the past, I do love those characters. And through a case of mistaken identity, crimes of convenience, just random craziness, her life is put in danger in both books by very unlikely characters. Now, I promise I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but in the event of all these things happening where somebody's killed outside of her business and she thinks she's being attacked, the police get involved. Well, there was a murder, just not hers. And with all this craziness going on, an ex-boyfriend, well, more a guy who never fully made it to boyfriend status, enters her life again. And through that, their relationship begins to unfold and progress. By the end of this book, they have decided to be together. By this book, another person's trying to kill Blair. And you gotta wonder, is this ex-cheerleader, herky, high-maintenance chick, just asking for trouble? But it's a great stories. It is wonderful to just really experience this. This is a Southern Belle. And she's fun, she's witty, you get to meet her parents, you get to meet her siblings, and it's just so funny, her thought process. One of the things that she does do, that starts in the first book and goes through to the second, is Blair starts to make a list of every time her new boyfriend, Wyatt, upsets her, it goes on a list. Needless to say, guys, let's pray your woman doesn't do this, because you're all going to be in trouble then. But it is funny, it is hilarious, it is just fun. I love the dynamic between Blair and Wyatt, and just the way they make it work. There are so many different characters in this book that kind of help you see all the different sides of Blair. You get to see the drama, the business type, this chick who she's willing to let people think she's an airhead blonde if it'll get her what she wants. But do not mess with her because she will think of revenge. Now, I'm not going to tell you too much because, again, like I said, these are wonderful books. Oh my goodness, do I enjoy them. So I hope you guys will give them a chance. But one of the things that both books have in them is it talks about a recipe that Blair uses. And by the second book, that recipe has been put in here. It is a simple, easy recipe of donut bread pudding. I have made this recipe so many times, and I love it. Oh my God, it's a sugar high you will not believe. It is unbelievable, but it's worth the effort. So, for our next part in this review, we're going to be making donut bread pudding. And let's see if you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Alright, let's go make it. Hey everybody, and here's the fun part of this review is the baking part. Now, the reason we're doing this recipe with a book review is because in both books, in this 2-book series, they have this recipe. First, as a thank you, and second, as trying to bribe people. So, it's a pretty good recipe. I've had it lots of times. So, let's dig in. And don't worry, if you want the recipe, not only can you find it in the second book of Linda Howard's, Drop Dead Gorgeous, but you can also, we're going to try and put it at the end of this video. Now, one of the cool things about this recipe is that, yes, it gives you like 3 eggs, 2 dozen donuts, specific cans of stuff. But you know what? It's all about preference. So, as I make a mess, first thing you need to do, well, start the oven for one. It's at 350. Now, I've got 2 dozen donuts, 24 donuts, and, in the book, she recommends Krispy Kreme. I don't have a Krispy Kreme near me, okay? So I've got Walmart glazed donuts. I prefer the glazed just because I happen to. But you use whatever ones you want, crullers, sugar ones, I don't really care. It's your choice. And as you can see, I am wearing gloves, mostly because with this icing, your hands are going to get so sticky that if you have to do anything, you're just, it's a pain. Now, as you can see, you can turn them into small little bites, big bites, doesn't matter. The important thing is we've got to rip all of these up. Now, I love using this large mixing bowl because, as you can see, it can hold a lot. It will hold up to all this. These bowls are also really cool for things like popcorn because they're wide enough that, a couple people can grab popcorn without bumping each other. But for now, we're just going to keep ripping these up, and I guarantee by the time you get to the end of these, you're going to be like, oh, okay, they don't need to be perfect. Now, just because I don't want to waste your guys' time watching me do all this, we'll do a time lapse. All right, next we have some fun. And just because we don't want to leave your mess on the table, throw those away. Now this calls for beaten eggs. So, you can get some of your aggression out that way. All right, so we've got our beaten eggs. Now just double check. All right, so next we've got sweetened condensed milk. This stuff is really, really thick, guys. Ooh. And if you haven't figured it out yet, by the time you are done, if you tried eating all of this at once, you would then experience diabetes or a sugar coma. So there's that. Now, one of the things, best way to do this is slowly pour it in like this, so it gives you a chance to really mix it up well with the eggs. Let's see what else we can get in. Just super thick. And just so you guys know, you do need to use the sweetened condensed milk, or it won't taste right. I once did this accidentally with evaporated milk and did it come out wrong. So, as you all can see, got almost a full bowl here. We just want you guys to see that it's getting pretty thick. All right. Now, according to our book, we're going to use some of this vanilla. Now, I'm using imitation vanilla, but real vanilla is really great. Now, with this one, it's all about personal preference. If you like the vanilla taste, if you don't like it, put in however much you like. I put in quite a little bit of it because me and my kids like the vanilla taste. Again, personal preference is the most important thing. So let's just mix this up. All right, so let's see, after our vanilla, which one are we doing? We need melted butter. Here's the deal. We've got 1 stick of butter. We don't need the whole one. So we're gonna cut this in half and microwave. I'm gonna microwave for a short period of 30 seconds at like 50%. And that usually does it.
A few moments later.
All right, so now we have our melted butter. Remember, guys, just half a stick. And I'm probably guessing that you guys are thinking, why is she doing all this? Well, apparently this is the best way to make sure it's all mixed correctly. Now, the next part is cinnamon. If you want to put nutmeg or stuff like that in it, that's up to you. And with cinnamon, you're actually going to need more than you expect. But start with a little, like it suggests in the book, and keep going. Luckily, I've done this enough times that I'm just going to put in a ton because me and my kids like cinnamon. So, and this kind of reminds me of making like French toast or something, but way too sweet. So you're just going to mix this up. You're going to have clumps of cinnamon. It's pretty much, it's all good, guys. Because remember, it's not like I'm asking you to eat this mixture just straight. Now, once you've got it pretty much mixed together, there's still going to be chunks and such, and that's fine because, again, you're going to take this once you feel it's mixed enough. And again, different people, different choices. But I like that. And then you've got your donut pieces here. We've ripped up our donuts, and now we are going to pour this on top of it. I can tell you, it is going to be delicious, guys. I promise. One of the cool things about this recipe is that, one, it's for anybody who's got a sweet tooth. This is going to give you a sugar high like no tomorrow. But if you're like hypoglycemic or, you know, you're just having a trouble getting much of an appetite, a small amount, like a little 3 forkful servings, you know, just a couple bites, and you're going to be good to go for another hour or two. This is way better than those 5-hour energy drinks. Now, obviously, with this big of bowl, you're just kind of mix and mix, and mostly you're just letting gravity do the work and kind of drizzle down on it. Now, you might not think this, and I was skeptical from reading the book and everything, but you're going to put in a large can of fruit cocktail. Now, you are going to leave in the juice. Now, everybody's thinking, oh God, this is going to make it so sweet, so sweet. For some weird reason, it mentions it in the book, and I was really surprised to see that it's true. Adding the fruit actually cuts down on the sweetness that you're tasting. I don't know why. Maybe it's because fruit has natural sugars in it. Who knows? All I know is that it works. Now, some people add nuts, some people add, you know, raisins. I don't like that in my pudding. So, I'm just going to add this up. And again, you're going to mix and mix and mix. And if you want, you can actually get your hands in and just kind of smush it together. We'll get some gloves on and do that in just a second. But again, whether you're using a fork, a spoon, your hands, it's all going to taste great. Now, as when you saw me ripping the bread up, I like to use these gloves. You can get them at like Sam's Club, Walmart, anywhere. And it's just nice because even though I'm going to wash my hands afterwards, this allows you to get in and not feel like your hands are all gross. So, like I said, you're just going to mix this fruit in as best you can. Now, all that egg mix went down to the bottom. So by using your hands to mix it up, you're making sure that that is going to mix into everything. And also, you know, if anybody asks, you can say, hey, this was handmade. You're using your hands to make it. Now, as you can see, kind of made it look like this. Now, the goal now is we're going to add milk. I promise I'm going to wipe the milk jug off afterwards. But, you know, you just put in however much you want. The goal is actually to make it look like lumpy cake mix. Now, with this recipe, it calls for an 8x13 dish, and that's usually what I use. Today I'm going to try something new, and I'm using 2 small containers so I can, you know, send some to friends and family. But as I said, just mix it up, mix it up. This part's actually okay to do with the fork because it's just, you won't feel it weird if you're not wearing gloves. So we're going to do this. And I don't know about you guys, but this looks like lumpy enough batter to me. So let's get these off. And again, if you want more milk, go for it. Now, normally I suggest doing a glass one. Doesn't stick as much, and it just looks nice. I'm using these one-time use tinfoil pans. Mostly because I'm lazy and I don't want to wash more dishes. So using your fork from earlier, and this one's kind of the tricky part, you're going to lift it up and pour it. Oop. And as usual, I'm making a mess of things. Don't worry, it's okay. So, you're just going to scoop and scoop and scoop into these. When they're about halfway full, stick them in the oven. Now, the temperature is supposed to be at 350. Now, the author wrote this book with the setting being in the south. I live up in the mountains, so we have a higher elevation, which means they're going to have to cook longer. And physics just did not like me on this one. But I figure it's worth it because it is, like I said, delicious, yummy. And I love the fact that, you know, I can just go in and, you know, just grab a fork and take a bite out of the fridge. I'll feel a little guilty, but not too much. So, now, if you guys think this is a lot of sugar, just wait, because when it's done, we're going to be putting icing on top of it. So, that seems to be about enough right there. Let's scoop these aside. Get our bigger one. And it's much easier to scoop this into just a large one than it is the 2 small ones. Now, you are going to bake this uncovered. We want to get it crispy. We want the top to be really good. And if it looks like it's still a little bit dry, just sprinkle a little milk on top. Like it looks like we got quite a bit of the milk in these two. So I sometimes just put a little bit right there and it'll soak in. We are now going to put these in the oven. Now in the book it recommends a half hour. Because I live up at a higher elevation, I can take anywhere from 45 to an hour to do this. We'll check it at 45, but we're going to stick this in the oven and we'll get back once it's done. We'll start making up the icing that we'll be putting on top. Well, our stuff is done now, and now it's time to make the icing. Now in the book, it recommends, this confectioner's powdered sugar with water or milk. I personally like to use lemon juice. It doesn't take a lot. Excuse me. Put in a little bit and you just stir it all up. Now this one is kind of tricky because if it tastes too sour, you gotta add some more sugar. And if it's still too powdery, you gotta add some more lemon juice. Sorry guys, got the hiccups.
Mommy is so silly.
Yeah, I'm silly. As you can see, I didn't finish before my helpers came home. Baby. So, are you guys gonna try the icing and see if it's good?
Yeah.
Okay, you're blocking the camera. Now, that looks like we're gonna need more sugar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So as you guys can see, or maybe. All right, guys, let's try a bite. Just poke it. Is it too lemony? And the looks on their faces are worth it. Hey.
Mom, I don't like it.
Well, that's why we added more. So again, just like with most of the stuff I do, it's all about personal preference. Now, if you go and get this copy of the book, Drop Dead Gorgeous, in the back it's even going to have a glaze recipe for you. It's even got a buttermilk glaze, which sounds pretty cool. Want the dog in? Now, obviously, I did not get this done early enough in the day not to be helped out with my little stinkers once they got off school. Can I have that? Yeah. Okay. Now, do you want to give it a try again? See if it's sweet enough? Is that good? Now, because we're at a higher elevation, instead of a half hour, it took me an hour to bake this. Sorry guys, I seem to be a walking disaster today. Now, some people will do this right when it comes out of the oven. Other people will turn around and wait until it's been cooled down.
Yeah.
Once I put this icing on, we're going to end up putting this in the fridge. Now, you don't want to eat a lot of this all at once.
Yeah. As you have bad tummy aches.
That's right. We never eat too much sugar at once.
You is sick and have tummy aches.
Okay. Do you want to go get me the 2 small pans, baby, off the stove? Yeah. Go ahead and bring them over.
I know you didn't want over.
Okay, can you bring another one over after that one?
Yeah.
Why, thank you, sweetheart. And the helper with me right now is my Zebediah. Oh, there we go. And these smaller loaf pans are great for, sending them home with family members or friends. And, it gives them a special treat. And you don't lose any of your Tupperware. And I mean, some people will make little designs in this. Me, I just kind of sprinkle it over. And so there's no waste. We'll take what little extra that we have. And do this. Now, after you're done glazing and all that, and whenever you're not actually getting a piece out, I recommend keeping this in the fridge with tinfoil over it. That way, if necessary, it won't dry out. Hopefully you won't have it long enough that it could. Icing, that's right. So that is how we make our donut bread pudding. What do you think? Think it's going to be good?
Yeah.
Well, we have now gotten our donut bread pudding. It is so delicious. Guys, please do not eat more than a bowl of this size. I don't think I can finish this one. But it is delicious. And whenever I make it, eat it, whatever, I always think about reading these stories. So please give them a chance. They are worth the while. They're worth the fun. And I hope those of you who have watched and been intrigued will give this recipe, a really good chance, because it is to die for. Now you guys have a great one. Remember to make every moment count. And you guys go find a book. It's fun. It's easy. And you can kind of zone out everybody else. So you guys have a great one. Bye.